We will proceed to next speaker, which is Professor van Buchem. Professor van Buchem I met in July 2014. We had a talk about working in Leiden, and your sincere pursuit of making nuclear medicine where a better department and making Friday department again convinced me to make a move from Twente to Leiden. And until the day of today, I don't regret this decision, and every day has been a pleasure and fascinating. I hope to also.
Thank you. So, it may look like all the speakers came up in their deep wisdom with the titles that were provided today, but actually UFE dictated exactly what we had to talk about. So that's just as an introduction to the other theme we have today. That's the festivity around the professorship of UFE, of which some more words later. So I was given the title Integration of Machines, Knowledge and People. But it's a good title, let me admit that. So previously, how was the world in radiology and nuclear medicine? There were two totally separate worlds, and that was because they used different machines and different techniques. So radiology was all about natural contrast, no radioactive compounds, no targeted compounds. And nuclear medicine was quite the opposite. Without targeted compounds you see nothing, but with compounds you see a lot of exciting things. So because of the importance of these radioactive compounds, also the whole clinical and scientific workflow is totally different between these two areas. And because of that, the training was different. Two totally unrelated traineeships. For radiology, it was just radiology, 5 years, and for nuclear medicine, it was a combination of internal medicine and nuclear medicine. And both had some short, let's say, episodes of exchange, but it was very, very limited. So two separate worlds, which also translated into the two separate disciplines they were, and that's again reflected by the different organizations here nationally, the Society of Radiology and the Society for Nuclear Medicine. And that ultimately translated into a lot of hospitals where there were separate departments of radiology and separate departments of nuclear medicine. But there's a brave new world coming up because of the introduction of hybrid systems. That's already some time ago. SPECT-CT systems, PET-CT systems, and now even before the horizon, the PET MRI, of which examples are shown here. And because of the introduction of the hybrid systems, we have now to work together as disciplines, and that's for many reasons. Because of the technical support, so if you are a nuclear medicine department and you have a SPECT-CT, you have to have people who know about how to deal with the CT component of the SPECT system. The technicians who handle it have to know about both modalities, and the interpretation of hybrid scans is a challenge by itself. It takes two people, if they're only monodisciplinarily trained, it takes two people to interpret one examination. Very inefficient. So because of that new era, the societies of nuclear medicine and radiology in Holland, they put their act together, and actually they were the very first in the world. In this area, the Netherlands leads the world, because they decided it was time to come up with a joint training. So now there's no training of nuclear medicine or radiology anymore as of last summer, but it's a common trunk of whether you're interested in nuclear medicine or new radiology or musculoskeletal radiology. You all do a common trunk, and then after that you can subspecialize. And that's really, I have to congratulate the two societies to be doing that. And especially UFE, who's also president of the Dutch Society of Nuclear Medicine, has to be congratulated for achieving that, which is really an achievement that's internationally visible. So, in the new world, these disciplines will be integrated. And you can see that internationally, there's oftentimes the titles are different, and I think this is an interesting example, just an example of what the new direction will be. It's irrelevant what technique we're working with in terms of imaging. What is interesting is the organ you're specializing in. So that's probably the future. But then integrated research is something, and not only because of the fact that we have these hybrid systems, but also since we have hybrid compounds. Targeted compounds no longer are only radioactive. There's hybrid compounds, there's targeted compounds that even have two labels, radioactive and fluorescent, for example, but there's also compounds that can be observed with ultrasound or with CT or MR. So it's a whole new world. Because of all this, we need integrated organizations, and this is our examples. This one is from Mount Sinai, New York, and this is from Mass General. So what about the new world, the brave new world at the LUMC? Well, we already had some SPECT CT systems, but now, it took a while, but now we have it, a PET CT system. And PET MR maybe in the future. In terms of rooms, we prepared for it. And with these new systems, we had to put our act together and integrate the workflow. And that's currently being done. But there's more to do. And what I think is really important, ultimately it's the people that have to be brought together that really make the integration a fact. And what do we need for that? A lot of infrastructural changes. We have to have the PET CT, the PET CT will be for logistical reasons in the PET center, but the SPECT CT system, the other nuclear medicine systems, we want to really integrate them into the radiology department altogether. We want to have joint reading rooms where nuclear medicine people or radiologists sit together, eat, have the lunch together, talk together, and we need an integrated staff center where the scientists and the specialists from different disciplines sit together and meet each other. We have integrated training that was really necessary, and the Corona, the new training that's developed nationally, is also a fact in our department. But that's for the residents. For the current staff, we started our crossover trainings. Clemens is in the lead for that. So hopefully next year we'll make a big start to make that, to do that on a broader perspective. And then technicians have to be able to work with the different systems. And then integrated research. We have great building blocks in our department. We have several groups who do probe development. We have a great image processing group, and we have a great image acquisition technology group. So the challenge for the years to come are really to integrate this all and come up with innovations that ultimately make it to the patient. And we are one department. We have always been one department. So nuclear medicine has always been part of radiology, but initially it was not living apart together, it was really living together apart. And now I think we're in a new era where really integration is leading. And as Bill Clinton already said, it's the integrations to it. So a very important thing in the brave new world is the people. And as was mentioned before, we reached ground zero in nuclear medicine in Leiden previously, and with the help of our friends in the Alreine, we could build up. But a really important thing was that we convinced UFA to come over. She handpicked a team of excellent people who were very complimentary to her. So I think we're ready for the brave new world. What is also interesting that is UFA's position as the chairwoman of the Dutch Society, and she really also in that perspective can help create a brave new world. She's a great support of integration, an asset for the department, and an ally for the future that I look really forward to continue to work with. Thank you very much.
Very much.